Hello, Programmer's Life, back to another session about arrays. So previously we talked about quite a lot concerning single dimension arrays. So in this episode, let's try to talk about multi-dimension arrays. Okay, multi-dimension arrays. Now in theory, there is no limit of an array dimension. That is something that you need to know. In theory, there is no limit of an array dimensions, but in practice we do not use much arrays with more than 2 dimensions. So for that case, we therefore focus on what we call 2D arrays. Okay, I know I needed to talk about that or pull it out for a start. Reason being, as you're making your research somewhere, you're going to realize that fine, it's about multi-dimension, but they specifically focus on a 2D. Why? I've told you, because theoretically there is no limit, but practically we don't really deal far much away from an array with 2 dimensions. Then earlier I told you that the multi-dimension arrays are called matrices. Now, since this time around we are specific to a 2D, then of course it's a matrix in mathematical term. So for their case is that we can always declare and we can even initialize the same way we did when it came to a single D array. So maybe let's have some syntax here to talk about. I can have let's have a syntax that is data type identifier, or we call it array name. Then we can have a size. So if it's a 2D, then it's gonna be like this. So we shall have size 1 and we shall have size 2. That is a 2D. Or I can have a 3D. Okay, I've told you our target is a 2D, but there is no harm in showing you how this can also be. So we can always have 5D. So example, I can say int matrix, and this matrix is a 3 by 4. Wow, I'm declaring. Okay, I can say float matrix, for example, and this one can also be a 2D, and it is maybe a 5 by 3. Okay, someone might ask, where are you picking the sizes from? I'm not picking them from anywhere. I'm just giving you an example so you can have sorry, this is a C#, sorry. Okay, I can have any size of my choice, because I'm the one owning the array in the program as a programmer. So I can choose how my array is gonna look like. So definitely you can choose your own size. I can say string. class names or class members. I can say string class members. Oh, what am I doing? So class members, then I can suggest that maybe it's a 3D. Okay, maybe it's a 3D, so something like that. So we can declare that. Now in understanding here, I'll pick the example from here. I have an array called a matrix. Okay, now here it means that 3 is the number of rows. 3 is the number of rows, and 4 is the number of columns. Okay, I want to simplify things or make them quite a bit clear. So the first size is for rows, and the second size is for the columns. That is why here I'm saying these are rows and these are columns. But the indexing concept is the same. What do I mean? It means that here I will have 0, 1, 2, and here I will have 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we don't care how many sizes it has or how many dimensions it has, but the concept of indexing still stays the same. So that is something very, very important to pick. But before we conclude on that, let's try to look at syntax of declaration and initialization. Syntax of declaration and initialization. So how is it going to be? Is data type, definitely, then array name, then size 1 and size 2. Don't forget we are using a 2D. So here we can have number of other we can have a number of other arrays within the same array, but the rule says don't forget to terminate. Now that is what we call declaration and initialization. Now this one helps us to understand more that a multidimensional array is an array with other sub-arrays. I'll say it again. A multidimensional array is an array with other sub-arrays. Okay, so it means that I can have an array, and inside there I can have other sub-arrays. So for example, I can say int matrix. It's a 2D. I will not specify the size. A. You mean you can even do it without the size? Can be. So inside, of course, the number of sub-arrays that you have and the number of elements in every sub-array can help to determine the sizes here. So for example, inside here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, then I can have 5, 6, 7, 8. I just wanted to make life simple. So it means that is a 4, 4. How did I know that? Now back here back here. Let me note for you to understand. Basically, note the number of rows is the number of sub-arrays. I want to make life simple for you. That is why you're watching this episode. The number of rows is the number of sub-arrays. Let me put that one there again. The number of columns is the number of items in each sub-array. Guys, are you enjoying? Are you understanding? So this means that I have two sub-arrays. So what does it mean? It means that is the number of rows, and in each sub-array I have 4 elements. This is wrong. I have 4 elements, so it's a 2 by 4. I don't know if I've made things a little bit more clear. Again, so accessing items of the array. Now, to access items of the array, syntax is also simple. It is the array name, then into a row by column, or array name into I and J. So this is row by column, this is I and J. Okay, examples. I can say my array name is called matrix. So matrix can be 0 0. Which item is at 0 0? So if we take this here, it means here I'm going to have 0. Let me write in it, no problem. Here I'm going to have 0, and here I'm going to have 1. Okay, then up here I'm going to have 0 1 2 3. You see that? So it means row by column, so it is 0 0. Okay, 0 0, that is gonna be 1. So let me copy this and put it back down here for us to create convenience. Okay, I have an endless screen, so there is no problem. So it means 0 0. I begin with a row, then a column. 0 0 0 0, that is 1. You see that? If I come and say matrix 1 a 1 by 3, so it is 1 3, and that is 8. I think that is more clear, more examples for you to understand if you're still lost. Matrix, okay, this is 1 2 or 0 2. Let's use 0 2. 0 2 0 2 is 3. Okay, so this is what we call direct initialization. Okay, and what we have here, when you declare and initialize, let me put it here. When you declare and initialize, then it's indirect. It's indirect what? initialization. So I think that is making quite a lot of sense. Okay, so that is how we read. Now this is write to. Okay, that is write to. Actually, let me put syntax here. Let me remove this. Let me put syntax here. Syntax is let me copy this. Actually, let me use one. Okay, it will make sense. Syntax is, this one is reading from the array. Then this one is, if we have a value here, then definitely someone already knows this is writing to the array. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope and pray that you guys are learning something that is so important at this very level. Now, traversing through a multi-dimensional array. Most of this time around for us we are using a 2D, so we are gonna be specific. What am I doing? We're gonna be specific. That is a 2D. So we use a nested for loop. Use a nested for loop. Syntax, it is for, okay, that is for I. One is for I and another one is for j. So this will be j. This is count count for I. Okay, this is count for j. So it means that this will be for I, and this will be for j. So this is j, this is j. Sorry about that. That is j and the other one is I. So that is the syntax. So one, this focuses on the rows. Focus on the rows. Then this one focus on the columns. Okay, focus on the columns, and this one focuses on the rows. So that is how we traverse. The same way I told you here, it is a row by column concept. Guys, are we together? Are we together? Are we together? Okay, now I'm still thinking a bit. Let's have an example. Actually, let's use this exact example here. We can modify it from where we are going to be. I don't need the whole of this. It's a whole new life, you know. Let me just say using a 2D array. Using a 2D array. So automatically, if we leave these ones in, we shall be going to hell. There will be no savior. So here, no, I can't say my array. So I have the 2D array here. Now the next bit is, let me have an opening statement. Cout items in the 2D array. So what do we need? Of course, to simplify life, we need some variables here. So I'll say int rows. How many rows do we have? We said there are 2. Int columns. How many columns did we say? We said we have 4. Why do we need that? Because it helps us in the loop. Let's traverse the array using nested forward, nested for loop. So for I, we said this one is for rows. Okay, we said this one is for rows. Rows, not the girl, but those rows I've written there. Then this one is for j, and j, of course, j is less than what are you doing? Speak up. So j is less than the rows. Okay, so here, that is when we do the printing. See out. Okay, now what's the name of the array? The name of the array is called matrix. So matrix is gonna be I and j. Okay, but each time we do that, then let's try to put that. But each time we jump out of a row, for every row, let's push it down. So for every row, let's push it down. So I'll say cout, definitely shall say end line. Guys, are you present? Are you with me? So the next bit is to compile and run. Then we so we have an error. Multidimensional must be bound to hey. There's line 7. Line 7. Okay, it is asking for fixation of sizes. Once again, hope you're learning something from there. See out, we had a rush type on line 25. We had a rush type on line 25, which is see out minor errors. But of course, that shows you how serious you need to be sometimes when you're typing your code. Okay, so it's a 2D array. Items in the 2D array. We have another unclear error here. This has to be j. So definitely it's printing. Okay, definitely it is printing. So since this is the right one that is already debugged, let's take it back here for a better one. Now we can even print the columns. So can even print the columns. So it jumps out here, so you can have something here. Think about it. See out, this is I, and each time we print I, then we, okay, once again. So you see, we have the ones for the rows here, which is 0, 1. So in your free time, you can put the columns. Okay, now back to where we were. Where are we? Here. It won't hurt if I give you a question here. So 1, modify the above program so that it can compute the product of each row. Okay, so modify the above program. Which program? The one that we have just done, so that it can compute the product of each row. I think that is very okay. Okay, so that is about multi-dimension array. Then something has just come into my mind. Modify the program again so that it prints for every even number. In the array, which means whatever we are saying, where was our question, like even number here, you see that it puts that. This is an even number here, it puts that. This is an even number here, it puts that. This is another even number here, it puts that. So the output will be something like that. So it replaces every even number with a star. I know that will help you a lot to do something nice. Okay, so I'm thinking let's have another question here. Write a program that will read a 2D array from the user. Okay, from the user, then prints it on the screen. Wow, so I think you can do for me these ones. Let's do this together here in this session. So for this metric array, do I need it anymore? I don't need. I had this one. Do I need it anymore? Nope. So I'm going to modify from this. No, actually, I'm not modifying, but I just want to have a start Such spellings, I told you guys you mind about them. I just continue typing. So we are reading a 2D array from a user, so it means the user has to give us the value for the rows and the value for the columns. But we can have an opening statement as usual. See out reading a 2D array from the user. Reading a 2D array from the user. Here, let's first have some variables here. Int num rows. Num rows is going to be initialized to 0. Now say num calls is also going to be initialized to 0. Why are we doing this? We are doing this, I just want to remind you just very shortly from here. We said it is rows and columns. Okay, that is why we need two variables here. One to help us to know the number of rows and one to help us to know the number of columns. So what we shall tell the user is going to be something very simple. Enter number of what? Of rows. So Cin is gonna be num rows. As usual, copy and paste is a design error, but make sure you're not copying and pasting errors. That will make things sweeter. Enter the number of columns. So here we have a variable which is already declared. It's called num what? Num calls. So what do you think? Yeah, the user has already given us the number of rows and has given us the number of what? The number of columns. So after having the sizes ready, we declare. Now C++ as a language is a procedural programming language, it's a structural programming language. There is always a way things are done, there is always a way things are organized. It is quite technical for someone to declare an array then receive the sizes later. That is why, if you've noted in the few examples that we've done, I first focus on picking the dimensions, then later I focus on declaring the array. So this one is gonna be int mat, and mat is num mat is num what? Num rows by num columns. I think I'm making sense now. So it's a 2D. Okay, now see out, we are going to ask the user then enter the different items of the what? Of the matrix. Okay, enter the different items of the matrix. So how shall we do this? Definitely we use what? Who can guess? A nested for what? A nested for loop. So there we go. I told you the first 4 is for the I and the other one is for the J. Okay, so what we are going to do, let's make things a little bit more clear this time around. This is rows and this is num rows. Okay, so this is rows. So I've declared another variable within which is called rows. Why am I doing this? Is to make things more clear, then to also confirm to guys that you can always use another variable to refer to I and j. Okay, so definitely here it's gonna be rows. Why don't we begin with columns? Because we said it's row by column, so when you reverse it, then you're going to get problems definitely. So we shall say 4. So this one is gonna be calls. Again, if it complains around here, please put these out, put the declaration out, and make life simple. So because some compilers wisec and they will demand that you declare from out, so mine does not, so you check that out. So num calls, this is what? This is calls increment. So we are on the struggle to capture. So here I'll say, no, sorry, see out. Let's make it a little bit nice, like this. Enter item at index, enter item at index what? This is rows, then calls, I think. Now this is just what? This is just common sense. If you have done at least some a variety of programming examples earlier, this is just common sense. I want it to print out for me something like that. Okay, that is what I'm focusing on. So definitely, since we are asking for, then we are going to capture. So this one will be mat. Is it mat? It is mat into rows, then calls. So it's a row by column index, a row by column index. I think we are making things really look more pretty. Okay, now the other task is, let's print the array. Let's print the 2D array that was built. Okay, that was built. So cout is what? Cout is our matrix. Our matrix, that's simple. So 4. Now the difference is the similarity. So without wastage of time, the same way we read, I mean the same way we write 2 is the same way we read. So copying and paste as usual. I told you it's a design error. So what is going to change here is I don't need this, and here mat, this time around I'm not writing but I'm reading. So I'll say cout mat. Okay, cout mat. I don't know how this is going to look like, but okay, shall see. But what I know is that the program is okay, though I'm skeptic about the appearance of the printing. So see out, this is inline for every alteration. Okay, but maybe let me ban this skeptic bit of it. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have watched from where we started, I think everything was okay. We accepted rows and columns, then we declared the array, then we began capturing. The only difference here was that we are capturing a row by column indexing, which is not the same as where we had somewhere here. Where was it? We had it here, and okay, the previous episodes I seem not to find it. I think I closed all of them, but no problem. So right again, we print, but the concept of a nested for loop is still really applicable. So number of rows, I'll say 3. Then we have 2. So at index 0 0, what do we have? We can have 2, can have 3, can have 5, can have 10, can have 8, can have 9. Okay, finally there we are. We have a very beautiful matrix. Hopefully you've learned something out of that. Okay, so a lot is to talk about with arrays, and a lot is coming on the way. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, Programmers Life. You can reach out to me on WhatsApp +25675182497 or at my email programmerslife@gmail.com. I sign out.